isn't here with us right now, probably gearing up for his show tonight. I think the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with Jason and the coach. Usually they come on these nights here. So unless Jason is busy or something's going up, they're probably about to be on, or they may be on, or whichever one. Regardless, people go over there and show him some love. But you're with us tonight. Everything is in the description. You know, you guys are on the Horns Down channel, the Horns Down channel now. But definitely go down, click on the Patreon for Sooners 360. Check out all the wonderful information that Chris Mason has. Per usual, when news like this comes out, definitely got to give a shout out to Chris Mason. Jaden Ott is a Sooner, people, if you didn't know. Jaden Ott is a running back for Cal. Just kind of giving you a description. We're going to go off basically numbers. I think he ran for about 800-something yards his freshman year. Then ran for about 1,200 or so yards his sophomore year. And then this last year was kind of a dud for him because ankle injury just never could get right. And that happened early on in the season. But, again, got to give Chris Mason a shout-out because he called this a couple of weeks ago as far as just saying that's a guy that I would keep an eye on. So some intrigue there. Looks like Cal is losing a lot of guys, a lot of portal guys as well. So just kind of, makes you think what's going on over there. You thought with Ron Rivera being the GM there would be some buzz about that. Maybe it's a little bit too old school. I don't know. But, for everybody in Sooner Nation, I think that you should be really happy tonight. So no further ado, Chris Mason, what are your thoughts about the newest addition or one of the newest additions to this new Sooner squad that I think we're slowly but surely getting really, really excited about?
Well, when you look at his sophomore film, he had nearly 1,500 yards total, 5.3 yards per carry. He's a really good receiver, too. He's a big back. He's about 6'1", 210. He's got home run speed, and he's just a very good back. Nagy, you might be seeing something where Nagy's talking about him on Twitter. That's an old post. That post is from last year at this time when Nagy was really tracking him and talking about juniors he thought could be interesting draft picks. So if not for this ankle injury he had, there's a very good chance Jaden Ott would be in the draft and probably talked about. Right, Ashton Genty's obviously going to be the first running back taken, but I think Jaden Ott would be in the same discussion as the Iowa kid and the guy from North Carolina, Omarion Hampton. He's very, very good. This is a very big pickup. It also, I think, speaks highly to the efficiency of Jim Nagy's operation that this guy was in the portal yesterday, and OU now has locked him down completely. That there's a very efficient recruiting, negotiating staff in Norman that is probably cutting through a lot of the BS with agents and stuff and getting guys quickly identified, quickly coming to a number they like, and quickly signed. I'll be honest, Chris, I'm stunned we got this announcement tonight. I thought the Maikkula thing was coming. Everybody had sort of indicated that. And I had a source tell me that it was happening tonight and that it was going to be OU. Then he jumped the gun there. But the Ott stuff, I mean, everyone thought OU was in the lead. Pete Nakos, I think, from On3 made a post about that last night. He was the first one to really say that out loud. Other sites have been hinting at this and talking about this. And this rumor's been flying around for a little while. But for OU to, Chris, basically take care of all of this before he's ever on campus and lock him down speaks highly to the negotiating, recruiting abilities of our new GM and his staff.
Yeah. Real quick. Want to give a shout out to Nate. Shout out to 918 Nate. Well, what up, Chris? Good meeting you and Jay at the Combine this week. We were there. Me and Jay, we sat by each other for the majority. Can't wait to share some notes. I'll send you some film. I've been meaning to send you guys some film in the kind of our group chat, me, you, and Jason, just to get your guys' thoughts.
Well, I saw your Twitter post, the beautiful throw that you posted.
Oh, look, I got some more stuff, but it was a great event, and with that being said, got to give a special shout out to Nate. Got to, meet him, his kids, different things like that. So definitely cool to meet some of you guys there. And I'm going to be at more games. We're all going to be at more games. So definitely hit us up, man. And if you guys are especially at the OU Texas game, definitely hit us up, because that's always a special time. You get to see Nick, Steve, and guys like that, and we get to roast them in person. But back to the point of this video. So yes, Jim Nagy, that's he's already paying dividends. I think Eric Quad in here, he says Nagy is already paying dividends. Just to steal his comment, and Stevie G, Nagy is a bad man. Let's just be honest. So these are guys that he's picking. These are guys that he's identifying early. And he's figuring out how to get it done. It helps that I think he does have some connections out there on that West Coast, right, Chris Mason?
Oh yeah. And if you dig into Jaden Ott's background a little bit, you'll find out that he played his senior year of high school football at Bishop Gorman. So there's definitely a connection between Jaden and DeMarco Murray.
Okay.
I think the big, OU's getting a lot of publicity for this. I mean, OU just basically, depending upon your viewpoint, OU has the number one running back and the number one quarterback out of the portal. That's not a bad way to go. They got the number one offensive tackle out of high school. So when you talk about adding Mateer and now you add Jaden Ott, who is probably the number one running back in the portal based upon everything I've seen. Some other guy could enter the portal who might be ranked higher, but that doesn't appear to be happening right now. And you just think about the depth, the talent he brings. He's RB1, and you just imagine what that's creating for the running back room for RB2. Now, we already saw is it Troy Franklin? Do I have that right?
Sam Franklin.
I don't know who Troy Franklin is. Obviously, that's some player I've forgotten about, or some recruit back in 10 years ago. But Sam Franklin's already hit the portal. There is a lot of noise on various recruiting sites and various rumor mills that we could see Taylor Tatum next, that he could move on, decide to do something different. I think the word I got was that Torrey Blaylock had a fantastic spring year, that he probably has surpassed Tatum on the depth chart, at least for now, depending upon where things are. So that would be two running back slots. That'd be two guys leaving via the portal. You add Ott back.
Chris Mason, if you don't mind, let's just back it up just a little bit. Sooner Freak 29 has a great question, and it's the question right now. What makes everyone excited about Ott? Like, what are we getting in this guy?
Well, he's a big back. He's also got home run speed. He's an all-purpose back, every down running back. He makes the guy miss. He runs through garbage. Really, he does a good job running through tackles, ankle tackles. Does a good job finishing runs. He's lethal out of the backfield as well as a receiver. Does a good job there, big plays. He's everything. He checks all the boxes. Like I said, he's 6'1", 210. He's a big back. He's got home run speed. You can see that from his runs, his first 3 seasons in college football. So in terms of that, I think he just checks every box that you have in terms of what you want an RB1 to be.
Yeah. No, watching some of the film, guys, go to Jay's Twitter, and hell, I'll probably all over Twitter, and you're going to see some film. Get on YouTube, go see some of his highlights. The kid has great vision. He's not dancing down there. He's looking for that hole. He's trying to go. So I'm really excited about the kid. This is a pickup. This is a guy that I think us here at this channel, just kind of behind the green screen, have been talking about, because there's been some chatter about certain guys and stuff that we've kind of heard through the grapevine. But thanks to Chris Mason for sure. But these are guys that if you put on the film, you're like, hey, I really like that. I really like that. Go watch some of his plays, and then if you go back and you just keep your eyes focused on the offense and not be enamored with with everything that Mateer is doing in the offense, you'll see, especially when they get into the run game with the GT counter, or that they love to run, that he loves to run, some of the different run schemes. This is a guy that fits that mold perfectly. So
it's a big pickup. He is a potential All-American running back, and that's not an exaggeration. He has put up those kind of numbers. 1,500-yard total offense of total offense in a Cal offense that let's be serious. Cal does not set the standard for offensive excellence. He's not padding those numbers. Those are 1,500 hard yards. It's that's 1,500 hard-earned yards working on the Cal offense, right? I mean, this is not a 45 points per game high-flying scheme. I mean, their quarterback is okay, but this is not a, when you say he's got 1,500 yards, he's been earning those yards the hard way. So I think it's in a high-flying offense like OU could potentially run with that kind of quarterback and the kind of wide receiver play we think we could be getting at OU. Ott could eat in the SEC quite a bit this year. If our O-line's playing well and teams are having to focus on their passing game, having to focus on Mateer, just like Joe and Pirine, ate whenever Baker was back there and teams had to respect what we were doing in terms of a passing game. I think Ott could have a huge season for OU if he's able to stay healthy. And last year he had an ankle injury, just a high ankle sprain kind of thing. So he's not coming in with any structural problems.
No. And for everybody in here, shout out to Bishop for kind of spotting that out there as far as hey, all-purpose back and kick returner. I think Sooner Freak is talking about also a punt return. Is he also a punt returner? Guys, let's pump the brakes on that. Obviously, probably can do that. Probably did that at Cal, but I think you got guys here that can do that. Satania, and honestly, that's a way that I see. I tell my uncle all the time. I think Josiah Martin is going to find himself on the field in special teams an awful lot, and maybe carve himself out a role in that rotation later on in the season. Simply because I think he's a guy that can be explosive in that game. And he's a guy that has sure hands as well, but. Satania did a lot of that at Arkansas as well. So my expectation would be that he does that here too. So I think you got guys that are going to be able to do that. And it to me, Josiah Martin, Satania, those guys are expendable that way to the point where it helps you on offense and defense, meaning that I can focus on learning this offense, being a running back. Peyton Bowen, as explosive as he can be in a return game, give him a chance to let's not have him on the field doing all of that. Just focus on being a safety and being the best version of himself the whole time. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to. So
I mean, I don't want Ott out on kickoff returns, and I want him being RB1 and focused on being RB1. We've got enough skill talent who can return kickoffs when they actually happen. We've got enough guys. We've got guys there, I think, that can make big plays for us.
All right. So obviously we got Ott. So let's move on to the other addition that we got on the offensive line. Pick up a center. I'm not even going to call him a backup center simply because as much as I really do like Troy Everett, I think positions across the board are up for grabs. I mean, don't get me wrong. And I'm talking mostly offense. I think there's some guys that we're going to count on. If everything holds up with what BV said and we get Javonte Gibson back, I think we kind of pencil him in, Burks in, and then maybe Satania and kind of see who else that third or fourth guy is going to be. But the offensive line, I think that right now you have a good vision of where you're at. But Chris Mason, what are your thoughts about this kid that we just got from Stanford? Say his name as well.
His name is Maikkula. I believe it's Maikkula. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. So basically, if you look at the OU offensive line, I feel like the depth is demonstratively better. You've got plug-and-play pieces on left and right sides. And if Ozetta and Howland come back, you've got really good depth at the O-line. But the weakest position was center, right? Josh Isosa, I believe that's how you say his name. I know that Gabe and Teddy are having some controversy there. As for the Suda Scoop guys. But he's just not ready. He's just not ready. He needs another year, he needs another year probably. Hollenbeck's not ready, and with the departures in the portal, OU needs an experienced backup center. Right, we saw how that crippled OU last year when they lost Troy Everett in the preseason. When he came back, things got better. They didn't get great, but when came back, things got considerably better. So this gives OU an experienced veteran. He started 16 games. He's played center. He knows how to snap the ball, and this gives you someone to push Troy Everett. And if something happens to Troy, you've got an ability to plug in an experienced center at the position and leave everybody else in their positions. Now, could you move Fabeki Wewu to center? Yeah, but he's never played center in a college game, to the best of my knowledge. And that's not a recipe that leads to – you're trying to stabilize the offensive line, not destabilize it. So I think you leave Wewu at guard. He's competing with the other guards. And now you have a bona fide center who has 2 years. So even if Everett has a fantastic year, okay, plays every game at a high level, now for next year, for 2026, you can have Maikkula take over at center, and you've got some transition there where you've got an experienced center flanking with maybe our best young talent ever in 2026 at center. So this is a play for today and a play for tomorrow. And if in a world where he comes in and he's in great shape and he plays fantastic, he's probably going to be bigger than Troy. He's 6'5". He probably can carry 305 pounds, 310 maybe. So he would be a bigger center. He also can play either guard slot. So if for some reason we have some, massacre of our O-line group again, this guy can play guard. He can play guard for us and do a good job. So I think and that gives you extra flexibility there, which just helps. So I think this is a big pickup and solidifies perhaps the position after wide receiver that was most damaged by injuries. I guess it would be wide receiver, offensive tackle, then center, right? The center spot, not having an experienced center, having to move Jake Sexton around to try and ameliorate that situation. But when Troy Everett came back, the O-line played better. They played better football. Were they great? No. With all the injuries occurring and all the guys out. But when Troy Everett was back, they played better at center. I think you'd have to be the most depressed sooner about last year to just kind of really fight that comment. So to have a guy who can reinsure the center position, be strong up the middle, it's a big win. And you took him away from places where he probably would have been guaranteed a starting position. So again, I think you're talking Jim Nagy explaining to his agent and to Jake Maikkula, you want to come to Norman. You want to be coached by Bill Biedenbaugh. You want to be developed by Bill Biedenbaugh. And I think Nagy, maybe more than anywhere, offensive line is somewhere where you're going to see Nagy's impact, because Nagy was always very high on Bill and what Bill was doing. I think we got the Hall of Fame hanging out in here with us, don't we? He said he just joined in.
If you want to join Jason, just let me know. I'll send you the link.
Yeah. So we've got our partner in crime, Jason Watkins, hanging out in the chat. So I think more than anybody, Nagy is going to be well positioned to articulate to portal offensive linemen why they need to be developed by Bill Biedenbaugh. Why need to come here, sit for a year, maybe possibly sit for a year under Bill. You'll be better, and he will get you on the path to an NFL draft pick. So that's where it is a right off the bat. You've got a playmaker upgrade at running back, and you've secured and, to use an old-fashioned term, buttressed the only weak point on your offensive line. If I'm John Mateer, I think I'm having myself an adult beverage and being very, very happy about what happened today in the portal.
Well, according to and hopefully I'm saying it right. So Kyle Dupiece, I think I'm just yeah. So Kyle says, "Why are we hyping up a kid whose highlights are from 2 years ago and after had an ankle injury?" Then he goes on to say, I think X can still be RB1." I'm not here to disagree with. Excuse me, I'm not here to disagree with you on that. What? And then obviously, Center Cowboys are saying yes. Looks like he took Franklin's spot. But this is what I'll say to that, Kyle. I think that you got quality guys, really, really strong quality guys. I think people are really excited about this simply because this is a Nagy find. This is something that you are excited about because you know what he's trying to identify in the portal. You know what he's trying to add to this team. With him coming in, everything you've heard from him, everything you heard about him, it seems like he's doing that. So on top of that, you got to look at the running back room and just say, is it DeMarco not giving kids a solid chance to be RB1, or is it simply the fact that we're just not good enough in that room behind X-Rob, right? As we all have high hopes about Sawchuk. Sawchuk's supposed to have this world-class speed and all the rest of that. We've seen glimpses of it. I think year two, sophomore, whenever he did come back and he was healthy, he proved he could be a bell cow back. And he ran for 700 yards the last 7 games of the season or so. So I mean that we know that the kid can be good. It's just the fact of he's hurt. He's hurt a lot. Then Barnes is always barking up somebody's tree, right? Meaning that I think the vision is gone. I don't necessarily I question the vision. I don't question the talent or him trying to run hard, the effort, but I just kind of question that. There's some questions in that running back room. Obviously, you got the Blaylock kid that a lot of people are excited about. Tatum, you heard what Chris Mason said, and I mean, there's a lot to be left to imagination with him simply because he's right now is kind of labeled Fumblerooski. So I think you're getting a guy that has a proven track record that people are comfortable with saying, and he's played in some big games. And Cal has, for better or for worse, whatever you want to say, they've been better than they have been in the past. And they've been a thorn in a lot of teams' side. And so he's had a lot to do with that success that they've had. So to go get a kid like this right here, you've got a quality pickup at running back. You got a quality pickup on the O-line at center. So it's one of those things where we always harp about competitive depth, and this is truly the epitome of what that is, which is competitive depth, and that's just adding more to the room.
If X-Rob beats out Jaden Ott, that's great, right? I mean, Barnes's foot is the big issue. He looked like he was showing some better vision last year in the Ole Miss game and then the main game, and then of course then he blew he blew a tire again. So could X-Rob be the number one running back? Yeah, sure. But is he? But I feel much more confident saying he's beaten Jaden Ott to be RB1 than beating Gavin Sawchuk, or just Sawchuk's hurt again, so X-Rob has won it by default. So, and Barnes's foot is still wonky. But I again, if you can't see that. Just go on Twitter. If Kyle Dupree, just go online. Everybody is raving about Ott. This is a universally ballyhooed acquisition in the portal. Everyone's talking about this. He is an All-American type running back talent. Nagy scouted and evaluated this guy from his sophomore film and thought that this was going to be a first-round draft pick running back. So if you're going to start doubting, Jim Nagy right off the bat, then you're going to be unhappy about the way things move in the future. So,
Speaking of that, we did say we're going to talk about that. What's next, Chris Mason? Okay. I mean, I think we have a lot of answers there. I think a lot of people are eyeing tight end right now. I've seen some names that are floating around as far as wide receiver and everything and stuff like that, but I'll leave that alone for now. I think the biggest question is what are we going to do at tight end? Seems like the Cal tight end that is entering the portal, and seems like word is that the kid that went to that So what is it? Wisconsin? Seems
Yeah,
like it,
Kolajez or something like that.
yeah.
Kyle Kolajez. So the Wisconsin thing is starting to go like maybe one of two ways. Like, did he leave? Was he pushed? So we'll see about that. The Cal tight end, Andres, I believe how you say it, ENDR.
If I was Andrew,
INS.
or yeah,
Andres. He looks pretty good. He's a good player. Obviously OU's, does it help that they have Ott and Martin on the roster? I don't know. Maybe not. Indiana's been mentioned for him pretty heavily. A couple of weeks ago, I think I told you guys that I had heard rumblings that OU had a guy that they were targeting at tight end, guy they were hoping would enter the portal. I haven't gotten an update from my sources on that yet as to see if that name has entered or if they're still tracking that guy. So it looks like now that you've got, Jake Maikkula and Jaden Ott, I think, it's pretty clear that tight end was the next. So, okay. I'm not talking about the Koziel guy, Stevie G. It's the guy who just left from Wisconsin. His name is Kolajez or something like that. He's from, was it Bowling Green? No, that's not right. It was like a MAC school, Illinois State, Bowling Green, something like that. And he went to Wisconsin. Now, the story is either he didn't go to he kind of left Wisconsin, or maybe Wisconsin said, nah, we don't want you around any longer. So I think this is more of a push-pull situation, although Wisconsin's lost a couple other people to the portal. So there may not be some good tidings in Camp Randall. So we'll see how that shakes out. Other schools are looking for tight ends. Obviously, the Andrews kid, you can make some connections there. He's 6'4", 240. He's pretty good on film. He had over 600 yards receiving last year, at Cal. So that would be a name. There's some other names floating around. It's going to be interesting because based upon some information that's, I think, been posted that was on one of the Scoop, their Scoop podcasts or YouTube shows. It's believed Alabama and Texas are also hunting for tight ends as well. They don't like what they have in their rooms either, which is surprising because Alabama's recruited. There we go. Topher B. Thank you very much, Topher B.
Yes,
for the
last name.
Yeah, Topher B. Thanks for the assist there. Tana Koziel from Ball State. It's close to Illinois State, Bowling Green. Anyway, he went to Wisconsin. He's apparently leaving Wisconsin. He's 6'7", 250. He was very productive at Ball State. I think OU tried to kick the tires with him back in December. Wasn't really interested. So we'll see if no problem, Steve G. I got the names mixed up too, so I thought it was a slightly longer name. So we'll see if OU's able to make a move here, what they're willing to spend here. Kind of feel like they need to cut another tight end loose if they're going to add another tight end. Yeah, Topher B, I've been seeing some of the rumors around Lance Mason from Missouri State too. He's 6'4", 240. He's from Rockwall, Texas, which, if I remember right, is near Austin. So probably some Texas connections there that OU could probably leverage. Are any of these guys like home run hits, improvements, super improvements to the room? That's the area where I'm a little weak on. I'm pretty sure if Jaden Ott is healthy, he is a major improvement at the running back room. He's going to push our other running backs to play. If they're playing ahead of Jaden Ott, it's because they've seriously improved and are big-time players. Maikkula, I think, is probably the best center that's entered the portal in spring, and OU's, fixed. And I think it's a big pickup because of them fixing their main weakness. At tight end, the vibes were that, that Huggins, Kent, and Canick were playing pretty well. By the end of spring, they were starting to make some plays. You're starting to see some plays made from Carson Kent and some highlights. Huggins was doing a good job with the inline blocking and some of those things. And I think Canick is more of an H-back, sort of flexed out. kind of role. That I think he can make plays and get some mismatches there as well. So,
Chris Mason, I have a question for you, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no worries.
But and I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick. And guys, look, I'm just trying to type this on the fast. Sorry if it doesn't really make too much sense. But basically, the question is, can Mateer hide the bad tight end play? Similar to let's just bring up an analogy. So I believe our secondary is going to be pretty damn good. Won't call them elite yet, but I'm gonna call them pretty damn good. I think that they could be that. But our defensive line can make up for that with the pass rush that we're hoping that we're going to get.
And an elite linebacker play can put guys in windows, and we can have some more, kip sixes and things along those lines. I mean,
exactly. So
Daniel's doing some stuff also as well. So yeah, definitely.
So to that, can Mateer make up for bad? I guess it's really a combination of Mateer and Arbuckle, because I think guys will pop open. It's Mateer, but can Mateer hit them, get them in stride, all the rest of those things to get them, some good looks? But are we? Because right now it seems like we have some guys that are decent, decent ball catchers, but I think the blocking would be better as far as having the tight ends on the line. But I just don't know.
Well, I think Arbuckle will play to whatever our personnel strengths are. Because I think the big problem last year with Bauer Sharp, I was kind of blacked out on his name from trying to forget about last year, is he won't put him in those kind of the same kind of terrible positions that Luttrell and Finley put Sharp in last year, like wide receiver tight end screens and that kind of nonsense, and tight end reverses and all that silliness, and blocking an elite SEC defensive end one-on-one. So I would hope that Arbuckle will use the tight ends that we have, use their abilities, scheme around that, and not highlight and focus on their weaknesses, right? Like, don't ask Will Huggins to do a reverse. Maybe you have Jaron Kanek, do a tight end screen instead. If you have Huggins and he's in line, he's there primarily for blocking. Use him primarily for blocking, but leak him out every once in a while so Mateer can find him and move the chains. So I think your question is, can Arbuckle take the good of what we have at tight end, maximize it, and not not leave the weakness of our tight ends out there to be exposed. We don't have a guy that can do it all. Don't play call like we do, right? If Will Huggins could do this and this very well, then when he's in the game, call that. When he's not in the game, don't put in Jaron Kanek in line and expect a 235-pound, H-back to block the same way as a 255-pound big tight end. So I think I think what we'll see from Arbuckle is more of he'll play to their strengths and he'll try and not leave their weaknesses exposed. Can he do that? And can he make those guys productive by doing that? Certainly can.
Yeah, okay. And I definitely get that. Are we, I guess the last thing on the tight end room before we kind of move on to some more portal talk.
Yeah.
Recruiting. Do you think that the writing is on the wall for guys like maybe a Caden Helm or a Cade McIntyre? I mean, I like those guys. I just don't know if the injury history there for both of them is just, kind of made them absent. So I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting about them simply because the best ability is availability. So,
well, as Helms is trying, he's out there practicing. I'm just not sure what he's got left in the tank.
Yeah.
With McIntyre, I haven't seen the guy since like game 2 of 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, has he played since then? I don't think he has. So I don't know what you have. And the more he falls behind, as I understand it, Trinae Washington was out there at the Crimson Combine running around. He was with like a second team tight end making, I'm not sure if he was making plays, but he was out there working. He's an unhurt elite athlete, right? So the longer he's learning the more he's learning to be a tight end, and the more McIntyre is not seeing the field. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put the 6'5", 240-pound guy out there, or the 6'2", 230-pound guy out there if they're running. And the 240-pound guy is faster, more athletic, more explosive, and has more years to play. There's more upside. So I'm afraid Topher B again is right. Right. He's on a string of awesome posts there. This isn't the University of being nice any longer, right? This is the University of Championships. And as Brent said, I think before spring started, the days of just being a good guy and hanging out on the team, they're over. So if he's really, I think Benji, I think you're correct. If the running back position is as you said underwhelming, and we could debate what underwhelming means, but let's just say we find a common point on that. Yeah, DeMarco's got to go. You've given him a veteran elite running back to use. We're expecting results. We expect X-Rob to be better. He looks better. He's had a good spring. Torrey Blaylock's had a good spring as well. And Gavin Sawchuk has also, from all reports, had a good spring. So if presuming there's not just some complete blank out wipage of our running backs, yeah, DeMarco's got some things to prove. That's I think it's a totally fair comment. I think that's kind of all them. I mean, it's Emmett Jones too, right? We need to see the wide receiver core bounce back from last year. We have good evidence from 2023 that he can do that. But I think, Chris, the next thing on the portal is really, what does OU do at wide receiver? How many guys do they take? And can they find a cornerback that they want? Because I think cornerback, if you talk about plugging in the holes and really buttressing what you're doing, I think the defense only needs a cornerback. That's it. I think on wide receiver, I think at least one, maybe one guy. It just depends what we're hearing about Giovanni Gibson's rehab. And we did hear relatively positive news from Brent at the Crimson Combine. It's not as bad an injury as Kendall Dolby. And Kendall Dolby was out there running around at the Combine, right? He looked good. Looked like he was healthy. Looked like he's been healthy for a while.
Making all the cuts, doing all the rest of the stuff.
So if that was a more severe injury, then maybe we have a chance of seeing Giovanni Gibson back, for the heart of OU season, making plays and looking good. So that's a question the wide receiver thing, something you just got to have to think about how many you want to add. I think one guy makes sense. The name that's been thrown around a lot is Kenyon Brown, the guy for the wide receiver. Yeah, Bishop Kirk, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to your topic of kickers in a second. So I think Kenyon Brown, if he can graduate from JUCO, I can see OU adding him. Physical, elite talent. He was out of high school. He has been at JUCO. So, and he knows Emmett Jones. I think this ad makes, complete sense. If he can get out of JUCO, he couldn't get out of high school. Can he get out of JUCO? But other than finding a cornerback, I do think Bishop Newkirk? Is that right? His comment, kicker, I think Chris. I think we're going to see OU add a kicker there we go. Bishop Frank Dr. Newkirk. I think a kicker is going to be added. We're going to have to add a kicker because apparently the guys in the Crimson Combine were not overly impressive. Haven't been impressive all. Revenge tour, then OU should spend the money on them. They really should. So, because kicking, if you're in close games with a good defense and your kicker is killing you, that's how you lose football games. So OU needs to lock that down. Liam Evans, the freshman, I think they thought would have a better season and would kind of take the job. He was inconsistent in spring as well. I'm not sure what the reason why is, but I would love to see OU add a kicker. Based upon what we've heard.
So let's see. Corporate Duck says, "Do y'all think we'll go get another receiver? Who's your ideal, I guess, guy, and who's your realistic get?" Topher B, if you scroll down here a little bit lower, he says Xavier Lloyd at wide receiver. I think this kid. Uh,
He's from Illinois. So let's be clear. There's OU 247. Colin Kennedy brought this guy up, Xavier Lloyd. He was at Illinois State with Keontae Lewis, I believe. He had 912 yards, 66 receptions. Had a really good season. He was at K-State briefly. I think Xavier Lloyd would be in the realm of the best pickup you could get. We'll see. OU has a lot of connections, obviously, in the Kansas sort of area. So I think that's a possibility. I'm not sure if Emmett Jones tried to recruit him out of high school. It's possible that he certainly did. So that's a name that's wandering out there. There's a Wisconsin wide receiver that just hit the portal. Kenyon Brown, again, would be a 4-year pickup because his JUCO years don't count any longer, or at least we think they don't count any longer. Haven't exactly gotten a firm ruling on all that. So that would be a name. That would be a name you could add. And then he's got 4 years to play. So if for some reason he doesn't make an impact, you could redshirt him. I think he has a redshirt year. And then he would be able to help your numbers. Xavier Lloyd would be a name. The Stanford receiver, was it Mosley, signed with Texas. There's a guy from Syracuse, Pena, who just hit the portal. I don't think OU's going to be involved with him. Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he's already got a home. You're correct, Mason Shipley. OU Revenge Tour. You're right. Mason Shipley from Texas State is a good kicker. So that could be something OU makes a move on. I think they should. Can they afford Mason Shipley with the other things they need to do? It's all about salary cap and budget right now, roster spots and salary cap. So as I imagine, I think OU needs at least 6 spots to add the portal pieces they want to add. Right now they have two portal entries, Donovan Mitchell and Sam Franklin. There are rumblings around Jaden Gibson as well from various sites and various message boards that he hasn't been around the program a lot from what's been said lately. So we could Jaden Gibson get into the portal. That would be a third person.
Wasn't at the combine.
Yeah. Giovanni Gibson was in his cast signing autographs. So that brings up some questions there about what Jaden's thinking. Maybe he thinks he's, I don't know where his health situation is, and that's the part that we can't really get kind of a straight answer on from anybody. So that's a question right there. But overall, I would say, off the bat, going 2 for 2 for 2 of your biggest priorities, running back and center, it's a great start. And if this portends to how Nagy is going to run things, okay, Kyle, I could see Jaden Gibson going somewhere in Florida, USF or UCF maybe. But if this opening, Chris, is how Jim Nagy's going to run things, this is trending very well for OU to shore up their most legit problems, most legit roster problems on the roster, and be as prepared in August as they can be.
Good stuff. Chris Mason, go ahead and finish this out with some high school recruiting, guys. It's been a minute since we've been able to get to some true high school recruiting. We're gonna say some stuff as far as just more developments on this stuff, any new news that comes out, and obviously our opinions, our thoughts on the whole Nico thing for the Thursday show when Jason is in the house.
And that'll be spirited.
Yeah, that's go first on that one. So definitely tune in Thursday. But Chris Mason, high school, what's going on? Wait, And Topher B, yeah, one more kid. He said Taj McCoy. Solid name. Might be a name to watch in the Pro D. Okay. Okay.
And I would say if Taylor Wine, PJ, Danny Okoye, and MJJ just didn't have just fantastic, didn't have great springs, I could see OU bringing a defensive end in, but they did. And remember, we have CJ Nixon coming in as well. So we've got lots of stuff going on from that aspect.
You hear me? Which could be your tight end as well.
Well, I mean, again, screw it. Just put him at tight end. He can play tight end. So, if you get desperate, you could do that, although he wants to play. So 5 names to talk about with updates for you. All right. Name number 1, Carter Scruggs, an offensive tackle, 4-star, top 150, top 200, composite type player, 6'6", 290 pounds, from Virginia, has been to OU several times, has family connections with OU. OU is pushing to get his official visit, calendar changed, dump a visit to someone, choose OU instead. He would be your ideal right tackle in this class. Keep an eye on that guy. Very talented, big kid, 6'6", 290, lean looking, but a big target for Bill Bedenbaugh. Number 2, Jake Krull was just on OU's campus. He is a top 20 player, 5-star player by ESPN and Rivals. If you're following my Patreon, you know all about this guy. I have been talking about him for a full year. He's 6'3", 6'4", 230-pound defensive end, maybe the top five defensive end in the country, maybe the best pure pass rusher in the country. That's name number 2. Name number 3, Ja'Cory Smith, Amarian Robinson's teammate from Arkansas, 6'1", 205-pound linebacker, probably projects at playing 6'1", 220, 230. A lot of Kip Lewis in his game. Hadn't been OU, had he been high on OU, then he sort of backed off on OU, just back on campus, took a surprise trip, reconfirmed his official visit. So he could be one of the linebacker spots for the Sooners. He's an excellent will linebacker. Big name, on campus again. That's name number 3 for you. Sorry. All right. Damn, my hands, I'm getting this Jedi thing. I'm getting this hand thing going. All right. Name number 4. I've been mentioning this guy on my Patreon site. Talked about him when he first got his offer, hyping him up last year. Jalen Brewster from Dallas area, 2027 defensive tackle, 6'4", 300 pounds. Used to play, when he was only 6'3", 260, he was the running back for his high school. And he was basically unstoppable. Think Jamar Toombs, somebody like that, just a massive running back. He's now committed to playing defensive tackle, probably going to be a top 50 player in the country. OU's been recruiting him ever since, just for weeks and weeks, and was his first real legit offer. So he was also on campus. So that's 4 names there. And then back to Jake Krull real quick. We're getting forecasts for him to the OU from the Texas recruiting analyst for a site. If a Texas, anytime anybody from Texas, whatever their publication, if they're saying OU's getting a player, like bank on it, like take that to the bank. 9 out of 10 times that's accurate. This guy has also been predicting that OU's going to get KJ Ford from Duncanville. He just put a prediction in for that. So there's been predictions for OU to get KJ Ford for a while. So this is a more recent one. So that's your 5th name, KJ Ford. Guys predicting him choosing OU again. That's 5 names for you. 4 from this class. OU had some other guys visiting on campus, some 2027 kids. Even I think a 2028 kid was also on campus. If you want to find out more about that, subscribe to my Patreon. Information is there. Just go to patreon.com, look for Sooners 360, and you can do a free sign up for more information. I'm making a big recruiting post probably tomorrow morning. Starting to get it ready tonight. There's lots going on. So that's those 5 names to start with.
I was gonna say, Chris Mason, they could just go down to the bio, the links in the bio.
Yeah, the link in my bio. Follow the link in my bio as well.
I was saying the link of this video.
Oh yeah, that's true. So, but that's 5 pieces of recent recruiting information. There's some interesting things going on. One last name, Luke Waffle. I want to call him Waffle, but that's apparently not how you say his name. He's a defensive end from New Jersey, 6'6", 255. On3.com has him as a 5-star player. His brother was going to choose OU, but when he was transferring from Michigan, but he chose Penn State instead, mainly due to OU's depth at defensive tackle. David Stone, Jaden Jackson, those guys. Penn State had a easier path to starting, but his family was all in town. His dad's decked out in OU gear. They looked like they were having a good time. OU's been very involved. He's from the Hunt Academy, where OU's been recruiting guys consistently. They got Logan Howland. They tried to get Owen Waffle, and they recruited a guy last year as well who they weren't able to sign, who ended up at Stanford. Kohler, I think was his name. But I think OU is in play for Luke Waffle, and that could be a surprise. That could be a surprise win for OU down the road. He would be you add him to KJ Ford and Jake Krull, and OU could possibly have the number 1 defensive end class in the country. That's not an impossibility.
All right. Well, people, I think that's all that we have for tonight. Chris Mason, anything else?
Just that there's more and more kids who probably be floating in and out of Norman in the next couple of weeks. Lots of stuff going on. You're going to start to see some players drop off. Kamorian Johnson, a defensive end OU is recruiting, chose Alabama. He's from Alabama. Hardly consider that a big loss, but it may fine-tune who OU is going to focus on instead. So it's going to be an interesting chase through this summer to see who OU's real targets are, especially at wide receiver. And Chris, no updates on our QB soap opera.
All right.
I'll try and have something for Thursday.
All right. So for B, Students Cowboys been keeping us up to date as well. OU baseball putting belt to ass on OSU tonight. So also Porter Moser has been on a roll in the recruiting ranks. I mean, Nigel Pack is a huge pickup, people. And I'm thinking about doing basketball. As you guys know, like basketball, that's my first love. That's my first sport.
Well, the Xavier Brown kid, is it Xavier Brown? His stepdad's Justin Scott. That kid's supposed to be as good or equal to Pack.
Yeah.
And the forward kid they got from Notre Dame is a huge pickup. They just need one. They need one more big. Get one more big.
He needs a real big. And I'll be honest with you, people. If you know, it's not going to be a popular name. Go get Eddie Lampkin Jr. My God, just go get that kid right there. Will be the best post player that you've brought here. Even better than those 2 brothers that you had. That kid can be a solid post player for you. He's very Draymond Greenish, and I know a lot of Oklahoma people are not big fans of Draymond, but that's kind of his style of game.
I mean, Kai Rogers has had a very good senior year.
Rodman, huh?
The Kai Rogers kid they signed has had a very good senior year. He's a big kid, but you just want one more kid, 5 more fouls. 5 more fouls in the SEC inside the bang. You just do. With
some experience. That's all I'm asking for. Kai Rogers, I think they'll be okay. But people, with that being said, definitely catch us Thursday. We'll be on around 7, sometime between 7 and 8 or at 8. And we'll have Jason back on the show as well for the Sooners Intel, Sooners, all the rest of that stuff. So we'll definitely be getting with you guys. So, hey, like the video, share the video, do all those different things. Like on both channels. Go subscribe to the Patreon. Show some love to Jason with the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with the coach himself. So definitely show some love. Help. Let's get the Horns Down channel up to 1,000 subscribers. But with that being said, people, we are out of here.